Corruption scandals erupt, trust in government crumbles, and the nation's biggest businesses say enough is enough. Good morning, I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno, and this is At the Forefront. Today, an unprecedented move is happening. 34 major business groups across all sectors join hands to make a rare, urgent, and forceful appeal to President Bongbong Marcos to make decisive and transparent action against massive corruption. They emphasize their contributions to the government in the form of taxes and other fees. They declared they have lost trust in this government. Is this a turning point to expedite the investigation, swiftly prosecute all officials found guilty, or will this just be another call to fall on deaf ears? We have with us the Executive Director of the Makati Business Club, Apa Ongpin. Good morning, Apa.
Hi, good morning.
Can you tell us about this call for government action? You have 34 business groups across all sectors. Can you tell us which groups comprise this action?
Well, I can't name all the 34, but
Yes.
you know, everybody, the major groups are there. Makati Business Club is one. You know, of course, Management Association of the Philippines and Financial Executives, FINEX.
FINEX,
you know,
yes.
and then PCCI, Philippine Chambers of Commerce and Industry. You know, basically it's a who's who.
Yes, and it came out in the newspapers today.
Yes.
So what was the tipping point where these major business groups, like you said, the who's who, finally decided, let's come out and let's make this public?
It's not finally decided. Our members, for instance, were crying out for a statement, you know. They were just emotionally so appalled by the revelations of the investigations in the House and then now in the ICI. They kept telling us, hey, we got to do something. We have to say something, you know. And we've got to force the government to see this through, you know, these investigations. Heads got to roll, right?
When you say there's a lot of that emotional call for a statement or that you have to do something because they were so appalled by what was revealed in terms of the corruption, can you share with us what angered the business community the most?
The scale. The scale. We've always known. We're not born yesterday, no?
But isn't that sad, no? Like when we have this conversation, like everyone I talk to also say that. We've always known about the corruption. And it seems like we've normalized and accepted that.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
See, it's become systemic, right? It's so organized that it happens whether you intervene or not, right?
Yeah. And now the scale. The scale is what
It's
makes
the
it
scale
appalling.
that makes it really, you know, appalling, no? Of course, from a purely political standpoint, right? This is, you know, money is power, and this is a political elite empowering themselves, right? By taking from public funds. They're using that money as power. It's not just to buy, you know, nice cars and whatever.
It's to perpetuate themselves into power.
Yeah, it's a power base. And, you know, we don't like that. We you know, that's not democracy.
Yeah.
That's a form of oligarchy.
Well, the business community describes the corruption under this administration as historic, massive, and unprecedented.
Yes.
Are we seeing a scale of corruption that was, you think, worse than during the era of Marcos Sr.?
Yeah, definitely. There, you know, to be fair, when martial law was declared in 1972, let me use the active voice. When Marcos Sr. declared martial law in 1972, you know, there was a lot of public perception and everything of corruption in traditional politics. And he said, you know, we have to have a new society, right? And he was apparently able to clean up a lot of the petty corruption in those years, no, led by politicians. Of course, many analysts would say he actually just took it for himself.
Yeah, centralized the corruption.
He centralized it, so But okay, I mean, let's not debate about those things. But during the martial law era, you did not have this scale of corruption among the legislature, for instance, and in local governments. Typically, it was all sort of minimized. You had a very good cabinet, for one thing. During the Marcos years, he had excellent cabinets, and Prime Minister Virata, for instance, these guys were serious, and they were development-driven technocrats.
Would you say the level or the competence of this cabinet we have right now is not as effective as during Marcos years?
I wanted to point out that that's a strength of the current dispensation. Like his father, he's really good at picking them. He's got good people, and during the cabinet reshuffle, we defended, particular his economic cluster. We, Makati Business Club, we said, look, these are the right guys for the job. Well, because they all came from the private sector, naman talaga, with a few exceptions, no. But yeah, we said, you've got good guys. Don't lose them.
Well, but that time, President Bongbong Marcos called for a massive reset, but we didn't really see an overhaul in the cabinet. Were you disappointed? I mean, you said that he should have retained the economic thing. So what was that massive reset all about then?
It was really more of a political reset. I don't want to go into detail on that, because that's the job of an analyst, a political analyst, no. But yeah, obviously it was some kind of a political reset, because I guess they felt chastened after his Senate slate went nowhere.
Yeah, during the midterm elections.
Yes.
So now with President Bongbong Marcos' history of giving grand statements as to, for example, a massive reset where it didn't really result in an overhaul of his cabinet. When he said, mahiya naman kayo sa sona niya, do you think this was really more for just a PR stunt or a serious call for accountability that we're going to see some results, like in this ICI investigation?
Well, that's what this statement is about. We're saying, look, you're going to call for accountability. We want a serious call for accountability. We want heads to roll, right? This is an historic opportunity for the president, to change the Marcos legacy forever. It's a make or break for his historical legacy. He has to see this through. Heads are really going to have to roll.
The business groups have also called this massive corruption as a threat to national security. What do you think that means?
Well, okay. One is, the amassing of economic power by the political elite, right? That's a security problem. I mean, in the way that warlords were a security problem back in the Marcos Sr. Years. Traditional Philippine politics, you have family dynasties, many of whom are warlords, right, who are dominating provincial politics. No? So in that sense, it's a security threat. In another sense, I mean, look at, for instance, this NTF-LCAC, and the confidential funds spent by the vice president supposedly to investigate this or that, but those are supposed to be for security, right? They're misspent. They're not being spent on national security. She can't show where the money went, and what results of the investigation? Diba? I don't see them. So, yeah, I mean, when you've budgeted money for security, you better spend it on security, not on, Mary Jane Piatos.
Or when you're saying you're going to use it on flood control, it better go to flood control. But now we're experiencing massive flooding, even if there's no big typhoon. But when Ambassador Babes Romualdez also said that there are a lot of interest supposedly from American businesses that are now being threatened as not pushing through because of this corruption scandal, do you think that this whole issue really is also a threat to investor confidence?
Yeah, and one of the things that we've been saying in the last few months is everybody's focused on foreign direct investment, as if there's like this huge, pool of foreign direct investment that's clamoring to get into the Philippines. That's not the case. We should be looking at domestic investment, right? I mean, domestic businesses, why are they not investing more in the economy, in risking their money for greater growth, right? And I think that's really the question we need to ask. Corruption is a big factor in this.
How has corruption affected local businesses? Like it sounds like before you were saying everyone knew there was corruption in the system, but if not for the investigations in the Blue Ribbon Committee, we would not be aware of the scale of corruption that we're facing now. But in the past, were there already symptoms that this was affecting local businesses?
Well, let's talk about first how it affects the economy, okay? Government spending is a major driver for growth, all right? And when the government programs all of these infrastructure projects and stuff like that, ideally, the money ultimately gets into the pockets of workers, right? And therefore boosts the economy.
Yeah, or even materials, like really buying cement, steel, the things that you need for construction.
Exactly, right? So, when you're spending this much on it's supposed to go to GDP, but it's not. It's going into the pockets of contractors, congressmen, whatever, governors, and they're using it to buy, mostly imported goods.
And a lot of luxury goods. I was thinking when I was seeing some of the exposés of netizens about Nepo wives, Nepo babies, sabi ko, buti pa ang mga foreign brands like Hermes, they're earning a lot of money from...
Yeah. Well, I mean, from our standpoint, it's not a question of the bourgeois obsession with brands or something like this. That money is leaving the Philippine economy. We are throwing that value abroad. Kumikita dito is Louis Vuitton. LVMH.
And even the luxury car brands, it seems, But what kind of response does the business community expect from the president, from President Bongbong Marcos and his cabinet, now that we've learned of the scale of corruption?
Well, we've outlined how we want him to respond. I think we made 5 points.
Yes, and I think for those who haven't read your statement, because this just came out this morning, it would be helpful for you to share this with the public.
Yeah. Okay. First, we want the Independent Commission on Infrastructure, or ICI, to be empowered, right? Unfortunately, they're running right now on an executive order, and they don't have full authority. They can't even issue subpoenas. They can't hold someone in contempt. So we need to empower them to do all of these things. They need to be very powerful, not what they are now. Secondly, we want public disclosure of all audit findings, all from 2016 to the present. Transparency is non-negotiable for restoring public confidence. And there's, one of the things that we've seen at, for instance, the Philippine Budget Watch Coalition group is that this all ballooned during Duterte, 2016 to 2022. The infrastructure budget almost tripled, and this build, and all of this stuff. Government money was just flowing, So we want to see these audit findings. Prosecute all those responsible impartially and regardless of rank, position, or political affiliation. So yeah, we want to see heads roll. Implement institutional reforms to strengthen procurement and oversight systems, preventing future abuse. So, for instance, the procurement law is obviously really easy to get around. It appears, right? And oversight systems includes both the COA and the ARTA, the Anti-Red Tape Authority. We think they're doing a decent job considering what they are at the moment, which is tiny. No, the ARTA probably needs to be about 10 times its size. To address the volume of complaints. They also need to be strengthened so that they can prosecute, not just investigate. So we want these systems strengthened to prevent future abuse. And then we want transparency. We want regular public updates on the progress of investigations, ICI and otherwise, COA, and reforms to demonstrate the genuine commitment and credibility to beating this corruption.
Okay. And do you think that the ICI should televise or at least live stream their proceedings? But before you answer this question, we'll have to take a short break. At the Forefront, we'll be right back. Welcome back at the Forefront. Apa, do you think that the ICI proceedings should be televised or live streamed? Because you talked about before, like all the revelations that informed the public came from the Congress and Senate hearings from before. But now we have no clue what's happening behind the ICI investigations.
We definitely believe that they should be open. All right, they should be open to the public. Now, speaking as a former journalist, and taking into account the concerns, for instance, of the lawyers and justices involved. Televising it and live streaming it, there's a very real danger of turning it into a circus, right? And, people can be, wrongly accused or whatever. We'd like to know. We'd like to know what Martin Romualdez told these people. We'd like to know what questions they asked him, right? But maybe live streaming or broadcast is a little too extreme. Maybe we need to discuss it.
Yeah. I was thinking like having perhaps accredited observers, but then we'd have to rely on the unbiased and also objectivity of observers if they were to be observing and then reporting to the public as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, very tricky, But business groups urge prosecution of those accountable, regardless of rank or political affiliation. Do you think this is realistic given the political landscape that we have?
Of course not.
Okay, I love your straightforwardness. Okay.
We're going to insist on it anyway. I mean,
yes.
I don't care if it's realistic.
Yeah.
It's the right thing, right? The right thing is rarely realistic.
Yes, and when you say heads should roll, are you optimistic that we will see heads roll regardless of anyone if they are related to the president? Because I keep hearing that. Ang laging sinasabi rin ni Undersecretary Claire Castro, walang kamag-anak, walang kaalyado, but Do you think that's gonna happen? Na kahit kamag-anak, merong magiging accountable?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I mean, that question is really, is Bonget gonna throw Martin under the bus? Okay, let's get straight to the point. That would not be a good outcome for us if he throws him under the bus. Okay?
Why would not that be a good outcome? Okay.
It has to be a fair and independent investigation, not at the instigation of Malacanang. They sort of instruct the investigators, oh, tigok na yan, di ba? No, it cannot be. It cannot be. It has to be fair, right? If he's really, got some kind of liability, let that be exposed, through proper process. These people, I mean, when I say these people, the accused in this thing, all deserve due process.
But do you think to a certain extent that the people investigating the Ombudsman, ICI, they were all appointed by the President? Do you think to a certain extent they're looking for like a go signal from the President whether it's okay
They better
to
not be.
prosecute the cousin of the President?
They better not be. They were, they were appointed to be impartial, and they were appointed to be, apolitical. So, yeah, they shouldn't be waiting for a go signal from the President. And, in Budget Watch, for instance, we've been working with Babe Singson 4 months before he was appointed to the ICI. And this guy we really believe in him. He will do what's right, not what's politically right.
Well, if your call for accountability is not heeded, what will the business groups do?
Well, I mean, if our call for accountability is not heeded, it must be to a degree. They have to at least show, something. They have to, and they know it. There's pressure. There's pressure on the palace to show results.
How do you know this, na may pressure sa palace?
He opened the Pandora's box during the SONA. He knew this was going to cause a political crisis. No?
Do you think he knew it that far ahead? Because
Yeah.
some are of the opinion that it was more for a publicity stunt or something that would catch public attention when he said, mahiya naman kayo. Pero hindi niya akalain na ganito kalalim yung aabutin.
No, I think he knew. I think he knew that it was declaring war, and what they call this, he did not blunder into this. Okay, first of all, my private opinion, not the Makati Business Club, is you have to look at them as a team. It's Bonget and Flam. It's Bonget and Lisa, right? And they're very politically astute as a team. They don't make mistakes like this. This is not testing, right? This is planned. They said, okay, kung ganito na talaga, di ba? Ganito na talaga. Diba?
Okay. So will you be joining any of the rallies?
I always join the
business
rallies.
groups? Okay.
I rallied against Marcos Sr. throughout my entire youth, my college years. So I don't join rallies for the sake of joining rallies. I join rallies. Now, Makati Business Club wants to make its presence felt. That we agree with the point of the rallies, and we need the government to do what's right.
Thank you so much, Apa. I hope we can continue to get updates from you in your
Yeah, of
call for
course.
accountability. Thank you again for joining us today. Corruption thrives in shadows, and for too long, those shadows have stretched across every level of power. But when business, civil society, and citizens stand together, light breaks through, exposing what hides, demanding what's right. Transparency isn't just good governance, it's our only defense against decay. And until every peso, every account, every promise is made visible, the fight for honesty is far from over. Be timely informed, be insightful of the news. Always stay at the forefront. Join us again tomorrow for conversations on issues that matter. This is Attorney Karen Jimeno. Thank you for spending your Monday with us.